Hello, BookTube, and I'm here with, and I just was about to say a short video. I keep saying that, and then it runs on, but since I got that in mind, I'll keep that. It's about an event that that is happening in September. There's lots of events that's ongoing. I have two that are ongoing, but they're sort of put on hiatus for a number of reasons at the moment. But the event that I want to talk about now with the TBR is an event that Mark at Book Time with Elvis and I have sort of created. And at this point, at least, we're having two other co hosts, Michael K. Vaughan and Steve Donahue. And the event is called Dictember. It's to celebrate detectives, specifically detectives. Rather than the crime genre, mystery genre, whatever you want to call it, is quite vast, and there's different ways of telling stories with it. And there's it's not like subgenres so much. I don't think it's just a way of telling the story. So we are celebrating the detective, and for the most part, I will be sticking to. Well, I think I will. Like, not for the most part. Let's just say I'll be sticking to pre-World War II uh, detectives. Now, I've got a lot of things that I do want to explore and re-explore that I've been ongoing with that sort of era period. Uh, but there's at least three out of the four of us that will be sharing one read, and that's myself, Mark, and Michael K. Vaughan. And the reading is The Big Sleep by Raymond Chandler. And this year is an annotated edition. Now, the novel is generally very short, but it was published in 1939. So this is the latest thing that I will be reading. Anything after that is just too brand spanking new. Yeah. Um, but yeah, it says here like it includes extracts from personal letters and source text, the historical context of Chandler's Los Angeles, including maps and images, film stills, and art from early pulps, an analysis of class, gender, sexuality, and ethnicity in the novel. So, like I say, for something that's only I think in the Penguin, I should have grabbed that out. I've got a Penguin collection of Raymond Chandler. I think it's only like 170 pages at most, and this clocks in at a larger size at upwards of 450 pages. So there's a lot of extra material in here, which is going to be quite interesting. Um, and also too, I want to because I don't think I've read Chandler before, but I've been struggling to remember if I've actually read this because it's the type of thing where you can read this kind of thing very quickly. If I was in my 20s or something like that, like a lot of the stuff that I've read is sort of mostly in my late teens up until 30, pretty well. Um, uh, and I'm doing a lot of rereading these days, but anyway, so I'm not sure, but anyway, I want to do a book to film because that's the reason. That's a good reason to reread it. But then I've got another reason to reread it, if it's a reread, or to read it first time. You get the picture. And this, as it says, it's got a lot of photographs in it. But there's one that's extremely important. It's paramount of importance that's in here. I'll show you. Yep, Louise. So important. Nothing else in the book is as important as that. Okay, now let's get to the right. Well, this is sort of a tentative TBR. I'll probably read something by at least one thing by each of the authors that I show here. And it's not necessarily as this because I just sort of grab because I'm sort of it, during the year of the pandemic in 2020. I was going to say 19, but 2020, yeah, 1920. I purchased a lot of sort of series of books that I wanted to read or finish reading that I had read bits of in the past. And one of them is the Philo Vance series by S.S. Van Dyne. And this is number 10. I think there's 10 or 11 of them in total. It's been reprinted by Felony and Mayhem Press in New York. And I've begun to really like them. It's about Philo Vance. He's sort of like he's an amateur. He's an aesthete. He collects art and stuff like this, and he's very particular about things. It's interesting because it talks, and this is set in the 20s. It's written by an art critic and everything too, S.S. Van Dyne, and it talks about the prejudices as well of gender and sexuality at times, at least the ones that I've read. And it's quite interesting, and it really, to me, it really gets the feel, or what I would feel, of 1920s sort of New York. And that's sort of, this is the same period that Louise Brooks was there. So you see, there's many reasons that I find it interesting. I'm sure I'm going to read one of these. This is a very slim one, but I am reading them in order. So I think I'm up actually. Just remember the Canary Murder Case. Just by accident, happens to have the film version happens to have Louise Brooks in it. Just pure coincidence. But yeah, so I'm sure there's going to be a Philo Vance on there. Another writer, which I've read some in the past, and it's actually going to be on, or it is on Mark's and I's sort of misplaced authors list, and that is R. Austin Freeman. And these are reprints that have been done by House of Stratos. I really like them. They do a lot of stuff, and I've got probably 3/4 to most of their reprints of Freeman in various places. And there was one that I didn't have a collection recently. I got, but it even says here there's a quote by Raymond Chandler on the back. This man, Austin Freeman, is a wonderful performer. And they're mostly there's a huge series. It's the Dr. Thorndyke sort of. He's the detective, and I'll be reading one of these. And again, I'm going to read them sort of in order, probably maybe of publication, because I've seen different lists of different orders, so I might just go by publication date eventually on these. But that's a stand-in for one of them. They all have this sort of, it's like it's a black and white, but some of them are sort of, it looks like a negative picture on the cover, which I really like the look of these. And another one that's Mark has sort of discovered. I think possibly through me, or maybe not. Well, not discovered. I'm sure he was aware of it, but he started reading. But either way, is the Charlie Chan mysteries. And I really like those. I've read 3 or 4 so far. I've read, I think, one in the past. I've always enjoyed the films. I've always enjoyed the old black and white films. But here's another one. And this is a really nice covers on these. This is the Black Camel. It says it's number 4. So actually, this might be the next one for me to read, or number 3. I'm not sure. And this is published by Academy Chicago Publishers. And originally, this was 1929. This one was published. Earl de Biggers died quite young, but I really enjoy the stuff. It's again, it's unlike, like, you look at the old films and that, and Charlie Chan is quite plucky. Where there's prejudice, against him by other characters that are friends of his, stick up for him, and Charlie Chan sticks up for himself as well, and with these biting, comebacks, at these people, and it's like it goes over their head, because he's just, he's head and shoulders in brains and intelligence from most of the people that are in there, and it's clear. Earl de Biggers clearly shows that. and that's what I really like about those. I was surprised actually when I started reading them that there was that in there. Another one that I want to read, and this is some. I'll read these, I'm sure, because they're short. Um, it's a character, well, a character and author that was created in the dime novels in the late 19th century in the United States, called Nick Carter Detective, and they were written by Nicholas or Nick Carter. They were done in the dime novels, and then revised. Well, see, this thing I have to look into it. And then in the sort of beginning of the 20th century, there was like the Nick Carter magazine, and I'm not sure if they just they probably reprinted some of the older material and added, and it just continued. There's like hundreds of thousands of these that were written. It's an interesting thing. Like one of the most prolific authors of the time, of Nick Carter and other things, died sort of penniless. You know, and it's sort of really interesting. And it was during, you know, it's the pulp magazines, and then it was revised again in the 30s, and there was even radio programs. There was not TV, sorry. There were films made, and then it was revised again. I'm not sure exactly when, into the 60s, probably, or 50s, 60s, I think. And I don't know. There's like hundreds of novels that were written. They're more salacious. I'm not interested in that Nick Carter. I'm interested in the original Nick Carter, and I do have some like these are sort of, I got them really cheap. They're cheap. Well, they're cheap and nasty all around, basically. Print on demand stories, and they're short. Like there's nothing even on the spine. This one is like 70 pages long, and it's large print. Like you can probably read that from you know, where I'm holding it. And this one is Reggie York Publishing. I don't know. And I do have a bit of a problem with some of this. And I'll see. I think these two are different. This is a publisher that I normally think of. No, that's still Reggie York Publishing for The Plot of the Poisoner. I like the covers because they're using the original sort of old pulp covers. Yes, this one here, Wildside Press. I generally like them, and this one's better made. But still, it has nothing on the spine. Oh no, it does. Well, it's not well written. It's bit on the back. So this is a little better. These I picked up off of Amazon, where, you know, they're generally fairly cheap, but it's one of those deals where, not deals, but it's just all of a sudden it's like, you know, 99p for something, and it's like, yeah, I'll take that because I wanted to try it. But I'm not going to order any more of these because of the lack of quality to these. This one is The Unsolved Mystery. And the other thing is, too, that in one of these, I read the introductions, and, oh yeah, it says here, the text has been lightly edited to modernize language and punctuation where necessary. No, I won't have that in my reading and stuff. So, if anybody's interested in Nick Carter, just go to the Gutenberg Library. There's lots that are there. So I have downloaded a lot of that stuff, and I will read some of it. I think on as digital e-reading. So yeah, so that's my more or less tentative TBR. We haven't actually sort of discussed this in too much detail of how, when we will talk about the books that we that we had, and I'm hoping that we can get together to do some live streams, or at least some, you know, even recorded material. Let me know what you think, if you'd love to see all of us on a live stream talking about dicks. See, I said that with a straight face. I may not be able to, you know, on a live, but right now I could say it with a straight face because I think I'm half asleep. Anyway, thanks very much for, well, it's not too bad, 15-minute video. Take care, BookTube.